Christus. Vatican and World News.
In the headlines this Monday, January the 4th, Lebanese Cardinal Bechara Rai urges politicians to overcome partisan interests and form a government in order to rescue the nation from total collapse. The head of the Catholic Church in Ukraine encourages war-weary Ukrainians to prioritize building human relationships in the year to come. And Afghan government officials and Taliban representatives prepare for a new round of peace talks. In the Vatican, I'm Linda Bordoni. Lebanon's leading Catholic churchman is again urging the country's political leaders to overcome the logic of partisan interests and form the government of truly independent specialists with a national conscience in order, he says, to rescue the nation from a total collapse. His appeal comes on the heels of a letter by Pope Francis on Christmas Eve addressed to him and to the people of Lebanon, in which the Pope conveys his closeness to their suffering and asks the international community to support the struggling nation. Maronite Patriarch Cardinal Bechara Rai made the appeal against the political stalemate that is preventing the formation of a new government in the country. Robin Gomes reports.
Shirking responsibility for the failure of the government does not help. The solution is not without risks, and all these risks represent nothing in the face of the hypothesis of a total collapse that the nation is facing, Cardinal Bechara Rai of Lebanon said on Sunday. He made the comment in his homily at Mass at the headquarters of the Maronite Church in Bekerke, some 22 kilometers northeast of the capital, Beirut. According to the 80-year-old head of the Maronite Church, an agreement is possible between President Michel Aoun and three-time Prime Minister Rafik Hariri if both are able to ignore the pressure, go beyond the logic of the division of quotas and portfolios, and act in the interest of Lebanon. He lamented that the cautious optimism of the possibility of a formation of the government that was in the air ahead of Christmas seems to have vanished, and the country today is again at the starting point. The tiny Mediterranean nation of 6 million population has been without a fully functioning government since the resignation of the cabinet in the wake of the devastating Beirut port explosion on August the 4th that killed nearly 200 people, injured some 5,000 and destroyed large parts of the capital. Even before the pandemic, Lebanon had been facing an unprecedented economic and financial crisis, the worst since the 1975 to 1990 civil war. The economic situation has pushed tens of thousands of people into poverty and triggered large anti-government protests. The Lebanese pound has lost more than two-thirds of its value against the dollar on the black market, leading prices to skyrocket. In mid-October, President Aoun tasked Hariri with putting together a new cabinet, but the parties remain at odds over portfolios as the World Bank warns that poverty will likely engulf more than half the population in 2021 and central bank reserves dwindle. I am Robin Gomes.
The head of the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church has released a video message to the people of Ukraine to mark the new year. His Beatitudes Vlatovlav Shevchuk notes that as we leave a year in which we were forced to reduce social contact, we must enter the new one, prioritizing building human relationships. Francesca Merlo reports on the relevance of this message as the country approaches its 7th year of war.
2020, which was full of special experiences, difficulties and challenges, but also special blessings, discoveries and joy, has come to an end, says his Beatitudes Sviatoslav.
Слава Ісусу Христу! Ось і добігає до кінця.
Referring to the events of the past year, the primate said, "We have realized that human life is priceless and human health cannot be valued by any money, economic benefits or political expediency." A 6-year-long armed conflict has been raging on in the eastern Ukrainian Donbas region since 2014 between the Ukrainian government and Russian-backed forces. In this time, more than 13,000 people have been killed and 30,000 wounded. During his pontificate, Pope Francis has often expressed his concern for Ukraine and offered aid to the country. Notably, in 2016, Pope Francis asked Catholic parishes in Europe to take up a special collection for humanitarian support in Ukraine. A total of 12 million euros were collected, to which Pope Francis then added 6 million of his own to the cause.
che un nuovo cessate il fuoco riguardante l'area del Donbass.
After his Sunday Angelus on the 26th of July 2020, Pope Francis prayed for the people of Ukraine and, referring to the numerous ceasefires, 20 since the start of the conflict, said, "While I thank you for this sign of goodwill aimed at restoring the much-desired peace in that tormented region, I pray that what has been agreed will finally be put into practice." Continuing his video message, Archbishop Shevchuk noted that through struggling with disease not yet known to the world, we saw the strength and victory of human solidarity in our lives. But we look with joy and light at the new year 2021 that we are entering. Finally, the primate wished everyone God's blessing. Optimism, strength and joy, so that we could really move forward together. Happy New Year to you, dear brothers and sisters. Happy New Year to you, Ukraine, he concluded. I'm Francesca Merlo.
Afghan government representatives and Taliban officials are due to resume peace talks in Qatar after a 3-week break. Officials said today that negotiations will go ahead despite battlefield clashes and targeted killings in the past days that risk undermining efforts to end the war. The talks, scheduled to get going again on Tuesday, are expected to cover contentious issues such as power sharing and a ceasefire after the two sides reached an initial agreement on procedural rules in December. The talks began in Qatar in September, months after the Taliban reached an agreement with the United States, allowing it to pull its troops out of Afghanistan and end its longest war in exchange for Taliban security guarantees. A British court says the founder of whistleblower news site WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, cannot be extradited to the United States, where he is wanted for revealing state secrets. As Stefan Boss reports, the judge cited concerns over Assange's mental health.
It was news his supporters had been waiting. The London court here announced it would not allow the extradition of the Australian-born 49-year-old Julian Assange to the United States. US authorities wanted to prosecute him on 18 counts relating to WikiLeaks' release of state secrets. They included vast troves of confidential American military records. Assange's whistleblower website also released diplomatic cables that prosecutors claimed put lives in danger. Prosecutors say he conspired to hack into US military databases to acquire sensitive secret information relating to the Afghanistan and Iraq wars published on the WikiLeaks website. He says the information exposed abuses by the US military. Assange's lawyers had argued the entire prosecution was politically motivated, powered by US President Donald Trump. They claimed that Assange's extradition would pose a severe threat to the work of journalists. But at a hearing at London's Old Bailey, Judge Vanessa Barritzer rejected nearly all his legal team's arguments. However, in a significant turnaround, she said she could not approve Assange's extradition, citing concerns about his mental health. The judge added there was a real risk he would commit suicide. US authorities have 14 days to lodge an expected appeal against the court's ruling not to extradite him. That's why Assange is not due to be freed from London's Belmarsh prison immediately. For Vatican News, I am Stefan Bos, reporting.
Iran today reportedly began enriching uranium up to 20% at an underground facility. The news came as an oil tanker flying the South Korean flag was seized by Iran in the crucial Strait of Hormuz. The developments further escalate tensions between the Middle East and Tehran. Iran later acknowledged the seizure of the tanker, alleging the vessel's oil pollution sparked the move. However, hours earlier, Tehran acknowledged that a South Korean diplomat was expected to visit in the coming days to negotiate the release of billions of dollars in its assets now frozen in Seoul. The dual incidents also come amid heightened tensions between Iran and the United States in the waning days of President Donald Trump's term in office. As rich nations scramble to kick off anti-COVID vaccination campaigns, Pope Francis has warned against possible vaccine nationalisms and appealed to the international community to make sure no country or continent is left behind in halting the pandemic. But with the second wave of COVID-19 expected to peak in Africa in the coming weeks, the prospect of a vaccination program there is still not on the horizon. Father Charles Chilufya, coordinator of the Africa Task Force of the Vatican COVID-19 Commission, told Vatican Radio that countries who have low bargaining power need the help of the World Health Organization and of other international organizations such as the Catholic Church to help them distribute the vaccine equitably and protect public health.
First of all, to overcome these challenges and make global vaccine distribution more effective, donor countries, richer countries need it and held accountable. Supplies in recipient countries need to be tracked, and real-time charts, for example, on roles and responsibilities, must be implemented. This requires collaboration and cooperation because if, for example, the disease is not dealt with in Africa, it will affect other countries. This is not just a local problem, as we all know. It's a public health problem of global proportions. There is need to develop a collaborative atmosphere. Like you have said, cannot successfully curb the pandemic without systematic communication with the public, and must have transparent policies to keep populations informed, but also states must collaborate among themselves. Just one appeal is that as the global pandemic continues to spread, powerful states must be encouraged, like the Church is doing, to provide assistance and resources to states in dire need in order to protect public health worldwide. International institutions protecting health rights must therefore develop a more interventionist approach to ensure equal access to medicine, encouraging universal guidelines and global cooperation mechanisms.
And that was Father Charles Chilufya, coordinator of the Africa Task Force of the Vatican COVID-19 Commission. Meanwhile, one of Africa's most developed nations, South Africa, says it hopes to obtain doses of COVID-19 vaccines as early as next month. But it says this will depend on the success of ongoing negotiations with pharmaceutical companies. South Africa is the first country on the continent to register more than 1 million COVID-19 cases. And UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is scheduled this evening to make a televised address to tell the public that further steps must now be taken to address a surge in coronavirus cases. The spread of the new variant has led to rapidly escalating case numbers. This comes as Scotland announced a legal requirement to stay at home from midnight. The UK Parliament will be recalled, allowing MPs to vote on any new measures on Wednesday. Alongside Scotland, both Wales and Northern Ireland have also implemented national restrictions. That brings us to the end of this edition of Vatican and World News. You can join us again tomorrow at the same time for more. You can also visit our web portal at www.vaticannews.va, and you can like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter. My thanks go to Roberto Colangeli in studio. In the Vatican, I'm Linda Bordoni. Bye-bye.